Hey everybody, welcome back. So we're on a quest to meet a dyno day. We got to fix the repairs that we caused by driving around. And yeah, we all have our bad days. Let's get to fixing. The goal of fixing is to fix it properly, if not better than the original fix. And so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to make the new fitting fit into this NTP. So it's 1/8 NTP tap that someone did about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Worked great until this accident we had here, or it was slowly breaking over time. The issue we have is that the new fitting will only go in one turn. There it is there. And that's all we get is one turn. So we need to figure out if it's the fitting or if it's the hole that's incorrect here. Now, as we've seen in the other photos, do we have a photo? Of course we have a photo. Okay, found a photo, load the photo. Horrible photo. Anyway, it's only about 2 threads of engagement on the end of that thing. And also the piece I have is longer, but we don't want to go too far. So this is something I didn't know was tapping NTP and how to properly do it. So I think after a lot of research, there was a Reddit post that showed how to do it, plus other posts that talked about it in other websites. And the general rule was you got to leave about 7 threads on the tap at the end, maybe 5 to 7. And then the other side, the thing you're threading in, you want 3 to 5 threads of engagement. So that was the consensus of everything. And when we look at this hole, we could see why. Later I realized why it's such a shallow hole, or why they only did the 2 threads. So what I'm doing here is I'm checking the threads. So even in the new piece, there was a piece of metal in there, a burr, as it's called in the machining process, and I'm trying to get it out. There it was in my hand, and I think it's on the mat right there in the middle. And so there was a burr in there, and good to get it out. That would either get blocked in the tube or make its way into the turbo, I guess, and it would never get past the bearings, just sit in there. So good to clean these out. You should take your tap and set and go around all the threads and get all the goo out and make sure everything's fully clean. The other thing we're checking here is that the unit going in threads fine into an NTP, and it does. So the issue here is that silver piece on the mat, it threads fine on the NTP, just like this guy, and there it is right there. That threads fine into that, no problem. And the other thing threads fine into other things, no problem. So the issue is going to be the block. And once we get down there and take a look, we can see. Alright, so we are down. This is the final repair. Here's what it kind of came down to was, in order to get the turbo feed line on the left, you either had to go below spec or above spec. And that would be, 2 thread engagement, which is a shallow hole, or a 3 or more thread engagement, which is a whole extra turn when tapping that hole. And so I think what they were doing was just being conservative and keeping it on the left with a shallow tap. They got 2 threads in, and it worked for 10 years, so no complaints. What I ended up doing was going a further tap, further turn on the tap to get it sealed better. So I was able to get a 3 thread engagement on the new fitting. We used Honda Bond on everything, and this is how it looks here. So it turned out fine, better than the previous in that there's less pieces involved. The only other thing I would do here is get an actual AEM oil gauge, which has a smaller sending unit on the end, a lighter one, but we're good. New calipers, all done up, still need to be bled. New calipers, all the boards torqued to spec. Should be good there. So this should be good to go. Oh, I'll show you how we're going to test this, but we're going to wait to get the exhaust back. So we basically took the oil turbo feed line off the turbo. We're going to put it into a jug. We're going to turn the engine over and we should get oil. Now, I turned it over already with the ECU fuse out, so there's no fuel. I didn't get any oil, but then I read online you either got to turn it over a really long time, which I didn't really do, and other people online were saying they turn it over till the battery dies and it still doesn't happen. But once they actually put the ECU fuse in and the engine starts, they get pressure in less than 5 seconds. Plus, we know the engine oil pump works, just this little tube oil feed line that we need oil to. And we want all the metal bits to come out. Yeah. So we need to see if we can get some oil coming out of that jug. Super excited. But before that, we did get the exhaust back. Unfortunately, it's in the same condition as it was a week ago. The shop was simply just too busy. Understandable. We'll address it on dyno day. I think too he was waiting on a part. That's what he was doing. So what we got to do here is, well, obviously get an O2 plug in. We got to get the exhaust on, and we need to see oil coming out of that line into a jug. Now, we tried starting it with the ECU out. We weren't getting any oil. And I think we do have that video coming up. So that's a big thing. Start it, get oil coming out of that line, and make sure there's no leaks, and make sure everything's functional. Yeah. So I think before we get to that video, this is just putting on the ESP traction bar upper mount, which I think we discussed. And up in the corner, of course, we're just tightening bolts. I think the axle is going in, the axle nut, making sure to torque all the bolts in that area, double checking. Because that's kind of what broke in the first place, which got us here. Ah, it's a beautiful shot of the apparatus. But yeah, I did read online for people trying to get oil pressure with no fuel, and had lots of people saying that it could be done, no problem, should happen. They can build pressure easily. Other people are saying that it takes about 30 seconds more of cranking, multiple cranks. And I guess there's people like me who I don't get pressure. So we got videos here to show. This is with the ECU fuse unplugged. So no fuel, we'll just crank and crank. Yep, here's the video right here. So we just have the oil line going in the jug. Try number one. Door opening. Get in. Try again. Yeah, I guess try again. Those people paying attention may notice the exhaust off. Yeah. I think we tried a third time, but this is no. And just to make sure, let's take a look at this. So there should be oil at this point. Take your bets. I think that's all you need to see. Yeah. So no oil. Totally dry. Okay, so let's see if we can start it with some fuel in ECU and see what happens. Yeah, works fine. And I believe I did that test long ago, and it was the same result. And I think looking at the jug, there's nothing in there. So let's tighten up this awkwardly placed oil line. Yeah, there it is. There's nothing in there. I did look at it, different angles, and no shavings. And that's a lot of oil for the 2 to 3 seconds that the engine was on or after I seen it. So I'd say that's a success for that line. We did crawl underneath and there was no leaks. Yeah, here's underneath after running the engine. And no drips, no issues. And that should be good to go, I think. Yeah. One last thing to do. Let's start the car. Let it run for a bit. Starts great. One second start. And sounds like this. Sounds fine. So I think we're back. No drips, no issues, no problems. No rattles. Except that one. We look underneath while it's running. I haven't did this in a very long time. As clear that axle. Barely, there's a quarter of an inch. Flywheel. Still have a dent. Hear the upper engine head rattle. I can hear it. It's never affected the engine, but yeah, that clackety clack sound. And that's just a 32-year-old engine head, valves, everything needs to be changed. That's it, folks. Yep, we just got to bleed the brakes. Dyno day coming up next week, and hoping to get 500 horsepower. Cross your fingers for me. Cheers.